Welcome to Binge Buy, the secret podcast, the go-to space for female entrepreneurs ready to stop hustling harder and ready to start scaling smarter. No more grinding out endless content just to stay visible. No more scrambling to create new offers every month just to keep the same audience engaged and buying. And absolutely no more praying people will stop to scroll and wondering why your ads are just trickling a little bit of sales. So if you're here, I know that you know something needs to change and that you've already built an incredible business, but scaling has started to feel like a slog. And I understand that you're a trailblazer who wants to scale, but you're ready to rewrite the rules and grow your business in a way that protects your sanity. So my name is Feliciano, aka Miss Bingeability. Okay, creator of the Bingeable ad system that turns strangers into instant clients on autopilot without living on socials. So grab your coffee, I forgot mine, or your favorite drink. Let's get cozy and let's chat. So what I'm sharing with you inside this limited series comes from working hands-on with incredible women who were ready to grow their businesses, but not by doing more. Right? These women had definitely hit their ceiling with organic reach and the revenue, and they knew it was time to embrace paid strategies to break through. Because let's be honest, let's just be honest, organic reach is actually at an all-time low. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to gaslight. You have not been imagining it. You've felt it. You know, maybe you've watched that big name coach build her whole empire back when, you know, organic was still easy, when Instagram was like a way to actually grow and now not just nurturing. Or, you know, you saw her like post 3 times a day for 3 months and all of a sudden she's at 150K plus 350K plus people. But now, no matter how much you post, your income just doesn't budge. And you are not the only one. I just want to say that again. You are not the only one. This is happening to so many people. But don't get me wrong. I mean, it absolutely goes without saying that you can do so much, you know, with a small audience. And, you know, social media is still an amazing tool for connection and conversion. We're not bashing it, but the way we've been taught to use it, just like, you know, build like no trust over months and months and months, and it'll all add up. That's a lie, right? That's a lie that has been perpetuated endlessly and is keeping women in this entire generation of women in this space in a feast of famine mode. And even those same big name coaches now, they're running ads right now. So what does that tell you? It tells you that organic alone just isn't cutting it anymore in 2025. You know, and whether these coaches are doing so quietly behind the scenes or they're boasting about it, saying that now they're embracing it, it's still happening. You've seen it. I know you have. So again, you can do so much with a small audience. You can make massive amounts of money with a small audience. It's absolutely possible. I've been there and I've seen it happen a time and again. You know, when your audience is small but mighty and engaged, you know, they buy everything you offer. But there is a reality behind the fact that eventually they will end up with everything that you offer. So then what? Then you'll find yourself scrambling to create new offers month after month after month just to keep them buying, just to, you know, get that spike in sales and then start all over again the next month. I know you're tired of that grind. It's really exhausting. And, you know, it absolutely became a hard pass for me because the truth is that only kind of like dilutes your messaging after a while. Like, you offer so much, but really, we are in an era where we want expertise in like a certain area now. And if you have just like all these offers and you something new, not only does it like confuse your audience, but it just kind of dilutes your authority in a bit. So, and here's what else is dropping in. You've been lied to about ads. You absolutely have, babe. So you've been told, you know, that ads are a waste of money, that you have to like, you shouldn't even think about touching ads until you're at 7 figures. Yet I would argue that in today's online world, ads never get you to 7 figures, right? You were told that, that the only way to grow is to hustle harder, post more for visibility, and just, you just wait for the organic magic to drop in, just wait for it to happen. But those coaches bragging about hitting 7 figures without ads, they didn't do it alone, babe. They have teams, they have resources, they have timing on their side. Because again, a lot of them grew back in 2020. And again, completely different social media landscape at this point. And I just want to reiterate that and I know this is like coming across for so many of the women I work with, but if you're currently trying ads and the results are like not what you expected, trust me, I get it, right? Like maybe you've run ads for your lead magnet or best-selling offer, hoping to grow and boost sales. And yeah, you maybe got some leads, but like it was like just like a trickle, right? So, and then like most of those people probably are people that are already in your world, which kind of defeats the purpose a little bit. But for the longest time, I thought that my problem was my targeting when stuff like that happened. Like I wasn't like picking the right interests or like dialing in the perfect audience, or like maybe it was my creatives, or like my landing page needed tweaking, and it was so much. And this was happening to me because I was also like kind of drinking the Kool-Aid, like on the other side, like, oh, like as long as your offer is proven and that it's been sold before. If you've sold it at least 2 to 3 times, you could just put it on ads and you're good to go. Well, let me give you a little spoiler. That is not how it works, right? Because like the problem isn't really targeting, and it's not creatives or even like the offers themselves. And I'm going to get into that. But again, I know that if you're here, that your clients are in love with you. They love you. They rave about you. They keep coming back because they're getting results. That you're incredible at what you do and that your offers work. Let me let you in on a tiny little secret. The difference between you and those big name coaches running ads is that they are simply retargeting their already massive warm audiences to purchase. So they're just pulling more out of their audience. Now, it's like tossing a lit match into a pile of dry wood. Of course, it's going to catch fire. They're going to make sales. Of course, it's going to be 20x ROI, because when you run ads, you don't have the massive following already. It's a bit of a different story. Like, you make some sales and it looks promising, but maybe like after a few days, like the sales just die down. That's not your fault. That just means that you have a smaller warm audience, and now your offer's hitting cold leads, and it started to kind of fizzle. So trust me, I have been there, and none of those options worked for me. And then I just was like, okay. So I took this like hard look at the space. I was like, okay, I'm looking at my business, what my clients are experiencing, and I'm like, what is really happening here? And then I just saw this huge gap, this massive disconnect between what we were being told and what we knew to be true. And so I was like, okay, I could give up. I could conform. I could just keep playing by the rules that didn't make sense for where I was at, where I wanted to grow. Because it was either, sell something flashy with flashy marketing, a gajillion bonuses, super low ticket, like $4 or $5 or $7, or, run this like paid ad agency, like $10K to figure it out for you and run a super expensive webinar funnel or whatever. And I'm just like, no, because then if you're somewhere in the middle, or like that's not really aligned with your business or doesn't fit your model, then you're just like, God, just posting and praying. And it didn't sit well for me. Like when I was faced with those options, I made a decision. I was like, nope, I'm gonna do something. I didn't want that. I decided I wouldn't settle, that I wouldn't shrink to fit this mold and this like industry mold that I kept seeing and pushing. I chose to trailblaze, to do what nobody else was doing, to rewrite the rules in a way that actually worked. And that's exactly what I'm going to share with you today. So my first observation is, again, the truth is that when you are in 2025, it's not just about visibility, right? it's about bingeability, right? And this isn't some cute concept, but it's your power play. You know, if you didn't build a massive audience during the golden era, a few years ago, the game you're playing now is completely different. Okay, algorithm has changed, the rules have changed, and pretending that daily posting is still a predictable growth strategy grinds my gears so much, because that is actually delusional. Because let's be honest, right? Posting was always meant to be top of funnel. Right? But now we've twisted it to be like middle and bottom too. So we're asking it to not just like attract. I mean, it's called the reel, for God's sake. It's supposed to reel people in. What you do after is what makes the sale. So like now we wanted to attract, we wanted to nurture, we wanted to close. And it was never actually built for that. And so now the algorithm actually suppresses that content actively. And so that only just reinforces you having to post even more. And the more specific and dialed in your messaging gets, the less reach it gets, because the less it's general, right? The less it appeals to more people, because that's like more bottom of funnel, and the more it gets suppressed. So again, the better you get at writing converting content, the more it gets suppressed, the less people actually see it. So what happens? You know, you end up either watering it down or posting what the algorithm wants instead of what your audience needs. You start veering into income claim territory, shallow trends, or just like this like performative value drops that kind of dilute your core message. And I see that happen, and it actually makes me really sad. So, and when that stopped working, you know, you start creating new offers every month, not from strategy, but out of like this like desperation to just keep the same pool of people buying. And I don't say this from an ivory tower. I have been there. But let's call it what it is. Like, it's a content churn treadmill that keeps you visible, but not consistently profitable. It's supposed to make you want to just keep posting and posting and posting and posting. And if it truly worked, I would be doing it. I wouldn't be here, but it's not the case anymore. And here's another reason why selling to new people feels so hard. Like, you're terrified of sounding salesy. Come on, be honest. Like, but let me hit you with some truth here. You only feel salesy when you're speaking to the wrong people, or rather, I should say, to people at the wrong time, right? That real shift happens because when you're trying to convince someone cold, some unqualified person, you start to get into this convincing mode and to this chase mode. And all that changes when you actually speak to people who are actively seeking solutions. I like to say solution seekers, because those people, the minute they see what they want, they jump in, and no hesitations, no weeks of nurturing, no price objections. And at this point, when you're thinking, okay, I want to get consistent sales, like I want people in my world ready to go, like I want to do this without having to post more, because then you realize that, okay, like I'm the bottleneck in my business, like I am the driver of every single sale. And now it's just like, okay, is there another solution? Like, let me tell you this. If you get anything from this series or just this one episode, let it be that you need to grow with people who are already trying different solutions or like exhibiting that buying behavior to eliminate the problem that you solve. Because if they're not, you'll be spending all your time convincing them to buy, and we're not here to convince anyone, right? The dream is to work with clients who get the fastest results, the ones who don't need convincing and don't have price objections and don't need their hands held every step of the way. These are the clients who feel light as air to work with, and the ones who upgrade right into the rest of your offers. And all of a sudden, selling feels fun. It feels cool. It doesn't feel sleazy, right? And so when you start attracting that audience with paid strategies, it's like chef's kiss, right? Because that's how you like effortlessly turn leads that just met you today into people who buy you today. And the concept that I wanted to talk about in this episode was bingeability, right? When you, and now we're coming full circle, but when you become bingeable. So first of all, let's think about how people purchase, right? It takes an average of 7 to 10 hours of interaction. Google just came out with this, but it takes an average of 7 to 10 hours of somebody binging your brand, watching you, consuming you, to purchase from you. And so at the core of scaling, right, beyond just like retention and repeat purchasers, is being able to convert more new people faster. And if you're telling me it takes 10 hours for people to buy from me, but I'm just, posting a little 4-second reel here, a little story here, another scatter post there, that's going to be really hard. And like the way that people purchase now is that they like to, if you talk to the person I just talked about, the person who's ready to go, who's already looking for the solution and trying different things, they don't want to waste their time. They want to go right in, figure out if your solution is different than what they tried and if it's really going to solve their problem, if you're really the real deal. And if they're having to go through hoops and figure out what you offer and have all this disjointed information, you're going to lose them. You're going to lose them to the next person who probably is not even as talented as you, but has developed a way to like shorten that cycle. And the best way that I know how to take someone from just met you to ready to pay you is by engineering that customer journey, by creating a bingeable experience that, you're watching it right now, that takes them from just meeting you to, diving into your energy, your offers, understanding how you're unique and how you're going to solve that problem differently to the next problem to the next person that has tried to solve it. And this is why I say that bingeability is non-negotiable these days. If you want to be able to scale, this is the best way. And I teach you how to do that on autopilot. So just imagine having the dreamiest clients, filling your offers every day on repeat without you having to do more, right? You're not fighting the algorithm. You're actually sitting back and watching it happen. And if you're thinking, this is what I need, I'm ready to solve this problem, then let me just say, there's never been a better time to watch my upcoming workshop where I'm going to be diving into exactly how you can map this out and what this could look like for your own business. So the link will be somewhere below. If you're watching this after, you might catch a replay. But at the core of this is, again, when your content is scattered, a reel here, a story there, a post somewhere else, it's just harder for you to binge. That's all. I'm not saying that it doesn't work, right? It's just not as efficient, which means you have to make up the difference with more posting. Sound familiar? Okay. So again, instead I asked myself, what if we took everything that we're doing on socials, but put it into one bingeable experience so that people could just jump right in and get all the relevant information and make a fast buying decision without you in the mix, right? Because obviously this is pre-recorded. So it's kind of like creating this Netflix effect. Now, let me be clear. This doesn't just happen, bingeability doesn't just happen on accident. There's psychology, there's sales psychology, and there's also, this bingeability tactics that are woven into this. But again, if this sounds interesting to you, something that you might want to try, click somewhere below and join my workshop. Again, this is going to be kind of an intro to my bingeable client system, which is a system that is designed to turn someone from complete stranger into a paying client without this weeks of long nurturing. And the best part of this is that if you're someone who's okay, this sounds interesting, but I don't have an audience, or what was the way that I have designed the system allows you to not only grow an audience that's the perfect fit of people for you, because the ads are just, it's literally pennies to run these ads. But you're also able to leverage the entire system to make sales on autopilot. So it is really, it is really my life's work. And I would be so excited if you could join me below. Now, in the next episodes, I'm going to show you how the system, collapses time, simplifies that buyer's journey, and scales your business without requiring you to show up constantly. It's it's going to be that sweet spot. It's going to combine the connection and intimacy of social media with the efficacy of an automated funnel. So best of both worlds, creating this powerful sales machine fueled by cold audience ads. And it's just so exciting. It truly is the best of both worlds. Like, these are the same tools and strategies responsible for tripling my income in like a few months and generating hundreds of fresh leads into my business every single month. Like, this means I wake up to sales notifications whether I'm high vibe and manifesting or moody and sick. So this means I'm getting paid whether I show up today or not. So again, this is about rewriting the rules entirely. It's about building momentum so strong that your audience doesn't just want to buy, they have to. Now, if you've bought courses or group programs on funnels or ads before, it may have felt like maybe they didn't provide enough personal guidance on how to apply them to your specific business. So, and maybe you didn't feel like you had to figure it out on your own. So if that's you, then listen closely. If you join my workshop, you will get that kind of like personalized, if it's still live. If not, you can catch the replay and I'll send you when I'm going to do it again. But we sit down and I answer your questions live and I lay out the system and we figure out what it will specifically look like for your business, so again, this isn't a cookie cutter approach or some sort of copy and paste strategy. Like, you'll walk away with like a tangible blueprint that, it will include like what the benchmarks look like, what the operating steps are, so that you'll know exactly how to implement and optimize it for your business. So if you're ready to make this happen and you want to get my eyes on your stuff, join my workshop below. Then join me in the following episodes because we're diving deep into this whole system. And again, let me be clear. It's not this like run-of-the-mill funnel. Like, at the core of why this works is the highly strategic, bingeable frameworks we use to make it extremely high converting. It's so juicy. So, and again, bingeability does not happen by accident. You can access the following episodes by clicking next. See you soon.